Hi guys, and welcome back to the Heroes of the Storm Road to BlizzCon North American Qualifier. And Anna, I'm getting a little bit sad because this is indeed our final match of this weekend. It is going to be Team Blaze versus 2Ark.
You can't be too sad, Gilly, because this is the second of 3 North American Opens. We had one in June, we have one this month, and we will have one in August. And also, the round of 8 will be broadcast next weekend, so you guys don't miss it. Be sure to check out heroesofthestorm.com for more information about the game. You can also download the game and play it for free with us.
Yeah, and you can also check out Heroes of the Storm on Twitter for more information about the tournament as well as the game. That is at BlizzHeroes. But while we wait for one of the members of Team Blaze to get back from the background, I'd like to go over the bracket just one more time. So yesterday we went over the first half of the bracket and we made it all the way up to the round of 8. And we have Tempo Storm, Pool Play-Doh Some Tangos, Goon Squad Incorporated, and Cloud9 Vortex moving on to that round of 8, which will be broadcasted next weekend from the ESL studios in Burbank. Now we have some more teams starting to make it up there as well. Cognitive Gaming did beat our friends Zeveron in the round of 16, so they will be moving on to the round of 8. Huge congrats to them, as that was a very big series for them. We also have Complexity Gaming playing versus Dark Arts, so a team that's really been coming through some of the brackets of the different events that we've been seeing, and they've made it all the way up to the round of 16, but they've got a huge opponent in Complexity so far. Looking at it, the winner of this will also go on to the round of 8, and then we also will have Cloud9 Maelstrom facing an opponent, and that will be in the round of 16. The winner of that also going to the round of 8. So we're starting to have some of these teams, these final teams, making it up there.
Yeah, that Cloud9 Maelstrom is going to play the winner of Noble Prime versus Heck Nuces, which looks Latin, maybe something about nuts, I don't know. But they are going to face Cloud9 Maelstrom, and we'll see who will come out on top and join them in the round of 8. It's going to be really exciting. Gilly, do we still have a bio break going on?
It looks like they are about ready to start this draft. We will be once again on Sky Temple, so I'm really pumped that we've gotten to see so many great games on this battleground today. It's one of my favorites. I really enjoy kind of the rotations and knowing exactly when to go for objectives. I think it's always really clear, and I really like seeing these teams make such decisive decisions on this battleground.
Yeah, I'm starting to love it more and more. I like the rhythm that goes along with this map. There is less of a random element to when the map objectives are going to spawn, and I think that creates really cool opportunities for a team to show off their knowledge and finesse when they use objectives or mercenaries to give themselves advantages knowing what's about to spawn on that battleground.
Yeah, and they can kind of start to break the rhythm, maybe going over and stealing a merc camp from an opponent here and there, especially those siege giants. They're pretty easy to do that, but we do have the draft started, so let's hop over to it. Looks like we will see a ban from Blaze on Johanna. 2Ark, meanwhile, going to ban out Zeratul. So 2 very standard bans that we've seen a lot of here. And, of course, a first pick on Jaina.
Yeah, Jaina is the first pick Bay. Everyone loves her, and that includes Team Blaze. So we'll see if 2Ark does answer with Kael'thas. That's a somewhat typical answer, saying, okay, you've got one really awesome range damage dealer, we're going to take the other. And 2Ark seems to be really comfortable with that strategy of allowing their team to be very strong in the late game. It is going to be Kael'thas. So I would not be surprised to see them again trying out their kind of very damage heavy, if not even no warrior composition against Blaze, just to feel them out in this first game.
Yeah, and if they were able to do that, that would lend very nicely to the fact that Blaze did decide to ban a warrior already. So it would be kind of a waste to them, and maybe 2Ark would be able to pick up some of these heroes that they really prioritize. Of course, we've seen it in Uther. They've been really Uther dependent in a lot of these games, and they made sure to grab him early on. We will have Malfurion as well picked up for Blaze, so Blaze doing a really good job of making sure that nothing's really going to be capitalized upon from the next bans. They have a strong damage dealer, they have a warrior, and they have a support as well. So 2Ark can't really hit them by picking up a support and then banning another one, for instance. 2Ark instead are actually going to ban out Nazebo, which is pretty interesting.
We did see Nazebo a couple times yesterday, which was a little bit of a surprise for us. We hadn't seen him as much lately. And I wonder I wonder if Tuark knows something we don't about Blaze liking to use Nazebo, or whether Tuark is trying to just not limit their options by banning a specialist damage dealer that they don't necessarily want to play.
Yeah, I think your first suggestion is definitely something that I was wondering as well, in that they're maybe looking at Blaze and saying, okay, they've got a great Nazebo player or something like that. Something where they just don't really want to have to deal with him. He's got a lot of heavy damage dealing abilities, as well as the fact that he's got some good CC in terms of the zombie wall, and then both of his heroics can do a lot of damage as well. Looks like Blaze will choose to ban Tyrande, but if there's one thing we know from Tuark, it's like they really like Tassadar as well, and they will pick him up. It doesn't look like a no warrior composition. They're saying, we did pretty well with Tyrael last game, let's give him a go again this time.
Yeah, and the Tassadar is maybe a response to the fact that they couldn't have Tyrande, but they want somebody in that same sweet spot of being a support but having other functionality. Tassadar can help with shielding as well as really great at laning, and that can come in handy when you need somebody to kind of stay in one spot, and on this particular battleground, the rotations are a lot harder. So a lot of times we'll see Tassadar kind of holding down the fort in a lane for a while in the early game, and that's going to be of great benefit to Tuark as they try to gain or make it through the early game or gain an early level experience lead.
Now, if I'm Blaze, I am looking at Tuark's composition and thinking, okay, they've obviously shown that they have some great knowledge of Falstad. They also just showed a really strong game with Tyrael into the Precision Strike from Manova, the Judgment into Precision Strike. So from that, Blaze should be looking at that and realizing that Tuark is going to have a very strong engage into trying to nuke somebody down while simultaneously having a ton of sustainability for themselves with the Tassadar and the Uther. So somehow Blaze needs to be able to survive that. It sounds like for now they want to focus on the damage control that Zagara can bring out, as well as the vision from her creep. And with one last choice here, I'm wondering what they will bring into the fray.
Yeah, I think that that last composition that Tuark had was so valuable. You said nuke down one person, and that's exactly what happened. They had this engage into such a powerful amount of damage that they could know with certainty that if they got the entire team together to do one thing, that they could just eliminate a hero from the battleground. And if they're allowed to do that again, that would be really scary for Blaze. Blaze is going to respond by saying, okay, fine, but we're just going to have a solid amount of damage too. We're going to add Vala to the mix. That means that Jaina and Vala will be dealing damage. Zagara can contribute to that as well, and she can also kind of answer to that lane problem we mentioned along with Tassadar. And Malfurion's going to be able to heal them all underneath his big AoE hill. So that's a very strong composition that has a lot of answers to a lot of different problems. But if Tuark does go with someone like Nova again, or someone that can really deal a big boom of damage to answer to follow up on Tyrael's great engage, I think you're right that that's going to be a problem Blaze is going to face throughout the entire game, as this battleground does depend on your ability to hold objectives, and that depends on your ability not to be outnumbered.
And a lot of times, because there are so many different objectives between the mercenary camps, between lots of times a couple of temples spawning at once, there's a lot of times when you will find that your whole team is not together. And Tuark obviously capitalized on that hardcore last game. Whenever we saw their opponents split up, they would instantly pick up on that Judgment into somebody like the Lily and then Precision Strike from there. So they have the potential to definitely catch Blaze out if they choose to split up. It looks like it will be the Falstad, so the crispy taco emerges.
All right, well, this is a good game for you. I know you love Tyrael and Falstad, so this is going to be a fun one, Gilly. I will be interested to see whether Tuark will be able to well, this is what I'm looking for. I think that Blaze has this composition that's going to be pretty good at gaining an experience lead or protecting themselves early on in the game. But as it scales, I think we may see Tuark trying to do that same thing we saw in the last game of picking someone off and being advantaged in objectives. So I will not be too concerned for Tuark if they're behind a little bit until we get to about that level 16.
Yeah, that's a definite great point to make, and we're going to be seeing Judgment into the Hinterland Blast. That's the combination that we've dubbed the Crispy Taco before, and then a Flame Strike underneath that will be applying Living Bomb once we get to level 16 for that Kael'thas. That is a huge amount of damage that will be coming out, and will definitely just take out directly any squishy member of Blaze. So they've definitely got their work cut out for them, especially because it really is just Malfurion there who will be trying to heal up. Vala can take some things to try to mitigate and kind of give herself some self-heal. So can Zagara, but it's still not going to be enough, I think, when dealing with that type of composition.
You may be right, Gillyweed. We're just waiting on Chubsy. A little bit of a bio break there, but once we do get into this game, it is going to be a best of 3. Again, it's going to put one of these teams into the round of 8. And these teams are looking to take home not only a prize of financial gain, but also the opportunity to travel to the North American Championship, and then as well to BlizzCon ultimately.
Yeah, so there will be 5 teams that make it through these opens into the America's Championship. And then, so we've already got 1 decided from that June Open is Tempo Storm. So then we'll have 2 more from this one, 2 more from August. And then 3 other teams will join them. 1 from a Latin American Championship, 1 from Australia and New Zealand, and 1 from Southeast Asia. So in total there will be 8 teams at the America's Championship. From that will emerge 2 top victors who will get to join 6 other teams at BlizzCon in November. So they've definitely all still got their work cut out for them, but they are still making strides every time they can get through a round of the bracket. We are loading in. We are going to be on the Sky Temple. We're just going to switch the overlay one last time on Sky Temple, guys. What is the objective for this particular battleground, Anna?
There are going to be 3 shrines, not shrines, temples on this map. 3 temples, 1 in the top, 1 in the middle, and 1 on the bottom. They're going to spawn in a particular order. Once they do spawn, it's your job to go stand on them and claim them for your own, but there are going to be temple guardians that are going to try to prevent you from doing just that, and your opponents probably won't like you doing it either, because when you do, lasers are going to shoot at your opponent's structures, and that's going to reward you not only by taking them down and allowing you to get closer to their core, but rewarding you with experience, and that is the name of the game.
All right, well, thank you for that great introduction to the battleground. Let's introduce you guys to the teams as well. Playing for Team Blaze in the red is going to be Rafflecopter on Jaina. Som, who will be on, is that Vol? I think that is Vala. Tuggin will be on Muradin. D-Noob is playing Malfurion, and playing Zagara will be Claudius.
Of course, in blue again, we have 2 arc. It's going to be Furious D on Kael'thas, Chubsy on Uther, Panucci on Tyrael one more time, Trader on Tassadar, and Suki on Falstad.
The great thing about Suki on this battleground is, of course, his movement is not to mount up. Instead, he can fly virtually anywhere on the battleground. It's a huge, huge range. And so we've seen more than once a Falstad win a game for a team, because once we get into the later stages, you can have multiple temples, even 3 spawn. Unfortunately, Suki might be in trouble here. A great juke there, though, going to be able to barrel roll away. But yeah, we'll see if Falstad fly into a lane, be able to take a temple and then win the game for a team. We'll have to see if the Falstad is that instrumental this time.
We already have quite a bit of push on the top here from 2 arc, but at this point in the game, I don't think Blaze, that's who they're playing. I don't think Blaze is going to be too concerned about that. They're just concerned about making sure they're soaking. Teams are about even in experience, both at level 2 now.
Yeah, they kind of want to get a push of their own going. We often see the Zagara on bottom, as that is the second temple phase, so any amount of creep that they can go ahead and start spreading on bottom will be nice in providing vision around that temple. But we do have the first activation. It will be mid and top as per usual on this battleground for the first temple phase. Looks like 2 arc is going to be taking top, but I think Blaze want to contest this.
Yeah, it's interesting. We often see teams just kind of tacitly agree to split the temples at this phase, but it looks like Blaze is not willing to do that. 2 arc is going to send Trader to stand on the mid temple, but 2 arc is not willing to lose anyone for this. We can see that they'll stand there when the opportunity is good, but they'll completely move out of the way when they see a threat coming to them. Now D-Noob is all alone and stunned up at the top. will go down for Team Blaze. 2Arc now has free reign to stand on this top temple and take shots. They have stolen a couple from the mid as well, and so I think that means they're going to be ahead in temple shots.
Well, on top for a little bit, Blaze also held it, so they may be a slight bit ahead, but I think it's going to be pretty even. Suki actually, I think, trying to decide whether or not to fly up, as now his teammates have both of them. Tuggin going to get up here, but getting fairly low at here. I think we might see 2Arc be content to leave once there gets to be too many heroes here. Actually, they're going to be able to possibly, there's just one more shot. Can they pick it up? No. Team Blaze will be able to get there just in time to pick out those final 5 shots, which do go in rapid succession. Meanwhile, up top is done as well. And so far, we're kind of seeing Suki have trouble with Claudius here in the bottom. The push that Zagara is putting out, as she's already got both of these towers out of ammo and starting to target them down.
You mentioned the creep spread, and you can see that it's doing a great job of not only watching the entrances to this bottom temple, but also the boss, which can be a place where you really want to know what your opponents are doing. It's a place that is often set up for ganks, and you don't want to let your opponents ever sneak a boss out from under you. So Claudia's doing a really good job of keeping awareness, but Trader, of course, is looking to take that away and is now sniping creep tumors.
Yeah, that's the great thing about Oracle, which is the trait for Tassadar, is it will reveal the creep tumors as well as give vision in an area. So he's going to be dropping that, trying as much as possible to be able to clear out some of those tumors. Unfortunately, Trader is getting caught in a trap in this corner here. He's going to have to drop a shield on himself. Chubsy's going to drop a stun to help him out. He will be able to get away. Now it seems like Panucci getting pretty low is going to Eldruin out. And I wanted to point out that we do have Promote being picked up by Tassadar. That's something that we haven't seen very much lately, but it looks like he does still want to be able to have some lanes kind of passively soaking where they possibly can. Maybe going to drop that and then move down to a temple, and their opponents won't realize that, and then they'll have a nice lane pushing in their favor.
Yeah, that tells me that they're really counting on Tassadar to kind of be their laner, as we mentioned. Looks like they're looking also to take down the squishy Furious D on Kael'thas. They didn't quite manage to take him down before he got back. That's thanks to Uther being the superior healer that he is, but they will lose those 2 towers and the wall. Now, we still have 6 forts for both teams, but as that bottom temple spawns, what that means is we're likely to see that number start to change depending on who ends up taking that temple. Everyone is turning their attention down that direction except for Tsuki, and that is because, like you said, he can get down there really fast with his mount.
Yeah, so he can lane until the last possible second and then move down there, soaking up experience, pushing the lane in their favor, as that's what he's starting to do. So he's going to start trying to move around. He might even pick up this vision tower, which will be a nice boon for them as well. Meanwhile, Zagara is cautiously picking up this shrine or this temple on bottom, just getting a few shots from it, but also making sure not to get caught down there. This temple is very difficult to try to engage into or try to get out of once all of your team members are there. It's just through these top bushes. So that's where we saw Claudius not really being willing to just hang out there and get as many shots as possible, because it's not so easy to run away from this temple.
Chubsy coming to Panucci's aid, but is not going to be able to do much, trying desperately to run away and hide in the bushes, but it's not going to do him much good. Can he heal himself to get out? Not quite. Very close, but he can, thanks to his trait, still use that to heal others. He can't heal Panucci, though. Panucci is too low. Will use that explosion after his death to take down Zagara, and that means that 2Arc will actually manage to hold this temple, just briefly at least. Now they're going back into the fight. Suki is looking to help take down Tuggin, but now Suki will not be able to barrel roll over that abyss like he did the last time, and it looks like Tuggin will now claim this temple yet again for Blaze.
Both teams very close in experience, but the last shots here are going to bring this fort very low, if not take it out completely. It looks like it might go down. There's still 5 shots left. Oh no, some of them went onto the tower, so no, the fort will survive, and a mule is there to help heal it back up. Tassadar picked up mule, so between the promote and the mule, Tassadar is being the sort of the supplemental hero here. He's going to be healing up structures, he's going to be pushing lanes where possible, and now we have heroics on both teams.
We sure do. It looks like Blaze picked up Tranquility, Strafe, Avatar, Devouring Maw, and Water Elemental. We have on 2Arc Phoenix, Divine Shield, Judgment, Archon, and Hinterland Blast. So we may be getting that crispy taco, Gilly.
Yeah, we're going to see the Judgment into the damage from both False Dad. And there goes the Judgment. Hinterland Blast immediately follows, and Malfurion is down. A Devouring Maw is going to pull in material, but it does not matter. He has done what he intended to do. Now Rafflecopter also getting very low. No heals with Malfurion down to be able to help that Jaina, so she will also go down. 2 heroes for the price of none so far. Suki and Furious T, Chubsy even very, very low. We're probably all going to have to go back here. And there goes the mule. Once again, this fort is almost healed back up, already at halfway.
That takes so much pressure off of 2-Arc in the temple phases because they know that as long as they don't get the forts completely destroyed, they're going to have some time to fix them. And that means that everything that Blaze spent on holding that bottom temple is going to be not, it's going to be a waste.
Yeah, definitely so. That does kind of put some pressure on Blaze, in fact, too, if they know they get a structure low, to try to maybe move in and take it down on top of that. And that can make that can be a bit of a risky play if 2-Arc is on top of that. Speaking of risky plays, by the way, I see vengeful roots here for Malfurion, so focusing on a little more damage and less on the heals there, which is pretty gutsy, as he's really the only source of heals. I mean, Zagara picked up rapid incubation, but other than that, it's a lot on Malfurion's shoulders.
It certainly is, especially without even like Tyrande to help with a little bit of healing. We'll see if that pays off for them. Maybe they're feeling like the damage they're doing is not enough, and certainly Zagara couldn't do enough damage by herself, as she will fall to 4 members of 2-Arc who are down here in the bottom, looking to snag that temple that just spawned. However, in the middle, Tuggin is holding down the fort by himself.
He is holding that down. There's still some structures to be taken down in mid, and already the mule is going to go down preemptively just to make sure that that structure stays nice and healed up. Meanwhile, 2-Arc is actually rotating in to try to push off to, Team Blaze from this temple as well. So they're getting a little greedy here, and they might even take down Vala. A Shrink Ray is going to get on her, make it more difficult for her to be able to escape. Dinoob trying like mad to keep themselves healthy, but you're not going to do very much damage versus 2-Arc here. You are just the warrior and the support. I am sorry, friend.
Looks like Suki ended up coming up to make sure that 2-Arc was safe, left that bottom temple to itself, but we now have Trader running down there being like, hey guys, there's still shots to be had, why'd you leave this temple? But Tuggin and Rafflecopter are headed down there as well, so Trader is not safe. He's going to have to back off and make sure that he has some support, because fighting by himself is not his strong suit.
What I kind of like by at least swapping here was the fact that they really made sure that all of their forts stayed alive. They did lose Falstad, but Zagara is down as well, and a Judgment straight onto Ice Block. That is a perfect Ice Block there from Rafflecopter, and exactly what you need to do in this situation. Now Panucci getting very low, will be able to Eldruin's Might, going to receive that Hungering Arrow, but with the shield will be able to get out, at least for now. They are on the chase, but it looks like everyone else will escape. That Ice Block was huge. That now means that Jaina really cannot be the target for that Judgment into something else, into more damage, because she can just hit that Ice Block and then be able to negate any other damage that's being put on her. So they're going to have to find another target for that Judgment Hinterland Blast combination.
So if I'm Blaze, I'm starting to recognize a pattern here. It's that as soon as the temples are about to spawn, I can expect that 2-Arc is going to group up, nuke one of my heroes down, and then utilize the fact that I'm one hero down to kind of bully me out of the temple phases. And that's happened a couple times now. So what that would tell me if I'm Team Blaze is avoid 2-Arc until the temples actually spawn, or try to pick one of them off before they pick one of you off.
Yeah, the problem with picking one of them off before they pick one of you off is that they are ahead in experience. They are getting pretty close to 16, so 2-Arc doing a really great job of kind of limiting the options that Blaze do have. Look, we even have Trader pushing on bottom. He's going to be able to throw out some of those promotes as well, and to just keep the push up. This is more pressure that's being put on to Blaze, and they're rotating because of it. They're going to be able to pick up these giants. That's going to help take some of that pressure off as well. But 2-Arc has now picked up 16, and what happens with level 16, Kael'thas? I do believe it will be Ignite.
I believe as well, Gilly. I believe and I trust in you. It looks like now Blaze is after this boss. They are hoping they're able to burn it down before 2-Arc can respond. Trader is here, but all by himself again. He's probably not going to do too much until the rest of his teammates get there, unless he can at least hold it down until they get there to steal it. The Hinterland Blast does go down. Rafflecopter and Claudius get very low, but the Ice Block will keep Claudius and Rafflecopter from dying. The boss does get taken for Blaze, but there's still a fight raging over it.
Jaina is down, one of the primary damage dealers. There goes Zagara as well, and followed closely by Vala. Now there's only Dinoob and Muradin remaining. And Dinu will get stunned. A great flame strike there. An ice block going to try to stave off the damage, but what can you possibly do? He will go down. The bottom fort, though, does finally go down for 2Ark. So Team Blaze have broken through at least one of the forts. Unfortunately for them, they have lost so much here. They lost so many people. Temples are up. They only have Muradin, who is trying like mad to stop these bruisers from pushing in toward their structures, but all of the lanes are pushed except for that bottom one where the boss is going in. 2Ark is going to defend. They've got mules to heal the structures back up, and meanwhile they're also capturing a temple.
Yeah. It doesn't take many people to capture a temple when there's no one to contest it, so Chubsy and Suki are going to take care of that. However, Claudius, Psalm, and Tuggin are on the way, so it looks like Chubsy and Suki will back off. They're not willing to sacrifice any lives in order to maintain that temple. And they also know that, like you said, they can heal up structures, so they can just put a mule on that right about now, maybe? Yeah. I guess. Oh, there's a shield at least.
Yeah, they're going to at least waste some of the shots, but yeah, I think they realized that it was going to be taken out anyway. So instead they're going to move in, try to maybe take somebody out here. Who will they judgment, though? That's the key, of course, and it looks like I would put my money on that Zagara. She doesn't have a lot of escape there, and there's not a lot of creep here to help her along with that as well. In fact, a creep tumor just went down to a flame strike. That seems like a lot of damage just to take out a creep tumor, but hey, it makes sense.
Yeah, there goes the Hinterland Blast, and that will take Vala down as well as take Dinu very, very low. The Devouring Ma, though, does go down, and that is going to take someone out of the fight only briefly, as 2Ark is still quite healthy. The Flame Strike is going to take Jaina down, and it looks like Tuggin is trying to keep himself between 2Ark and his teammates, but 2Ark has very little interest in hitting him, except when he can't hit back, apparently. They take him down, and D-Noob is going to be next. Claudius is surrounded, and that means that 2Ark is well able to take out this top keep with no consequences whatsoever. The soonest that anyone on Blaze will be up is about 10 seconds. That'll be Vala, and everyone else is a little far behind.
That Vala was melted so quickly, and a team wipe ensued, and now the first keep is down as well. 2Ark are not staving off the aggression either. They know they're almost to 20. They know that their opponents are still down for several more seconds, so they're going to paint the map blue. They've picked up those bruisers. They're going to be moving to the top temple. We're actually going to see them separating out. They feel so confident. They're going to also start pushing back this lane. There's a really big minion push on mid that'll give enough experience so that they can pick up their storm talents.
We also see that Suki and Panucci took that opportunity to go back and grab mana because they have the ability to do that. They can heal up and they can be even more ready for the next engagement because they know they've just hit level 20. Their opponents are still 17 and they want to give themselves every advantage.
Yeah, indeed they do, and some of those advantages they picked up in their storm talents. We have the Bolt for Kael'thas as well as Redemption for Uther and the Hardened Shield for Tyrael, so they're going to have a lot more survivability from those fights. Also, Twilight Archon for Tassadar. We already saw Zagara using the Maw on Archon to try to get some of that splash damage out, as it does do quite a bit, but now it's going to do even more. It's going to be more detrimental. And then on top of that, we have the Epic Mount for Falstad, so he's going to have even more presence on this battleground, being able to fly very quickly around, picking up advantages where they can.
Yeah, they're now going to take this death bridge with confidence because they know there's not a whole lot anyone can do to push forward. It looks like the rest of Blaze was hiding behind that wall, which should be able to be taken down quite easily with all the damage that 2Ark can do.
Yeah, I'm going to pull up the numbers so you guys can even see that damage as Kael'thas has pulled ahead in the ranks of damage, as he will do once he is to level 16. And that wall is down. The last tower is getting pretty close as well. It looks like 2Ark are just very content to try to keep Blaze in their base where they can. The Judgment will go down, and instantly there goes the Hinterland Blast, and Vala is down. Poor Vala, already down. And Trader right into the back line, throwing a lot of that splash damage down. Rafflecopter very low, does use the Ice Block to be able to get away, and now is getting healed up by D-Noob. However, everyone from 2Ark is still completely healthy as well, except for Panucci, who's obviously very low and needs to get back a little bit. But everyone else still doing pretty well, and they've got great poke from the Flame Strikes. There goes another huge one, takes D-Noob down to half health.
We saw a little bit of symmetry there, where Tyrael was very far forward in the middle of Team Blaze, And Tuggin on Malfurion was also very far forward in the middle of Team 2ARC. The difference was that 2ARC was almost completely ignoring Tuggin, being like, hey, we know you can take 1,000,000 hits, we're not going to waste our hits on you. You can't do too much damage to us, so we're not going to fall victim to the kind of common misstep that people make, which is to try and focus all our energy on the tank. Instead, we're going to focus on your damage dealers. They do take down Vala, and then in the meantime, Panucci, as you can see, took most of the damage, and that's what he's designed to do as the tank.
Yeah, he definitely is, and he's got lots of mitigation from that damage as well between the shields from Tassadar and things like Protective Shield, as well as the Divine Shield when needed from Uther too. So they've definitely got a lot of mitigation there. That's exactly what they would like. Panucci himself on Tyrael. Tyrael's a pretty good damage dealer too, so that's really nice for them. Looks like Blaze want to contest this shrine here, this temple, but they're not going to be able to do so as all the shots will be picked up, so they may have to choose to do so on the top instead. There is an interesting point here in that the boss is up, but there's only one keep remaining, and it's very, very low. So if 2ARC start to get this temple and are able to get several shots from it, we are going to see it start putting some damage on the core.
And that is a good place to put damage if you want to win the game. It looks like Blaze is still being wary of engaging because they know they do not have level 20 when their opponents do, but they know how bad it would be if damage went down on their core, so they are going to engage. Ooh, the amazing Ice Block staves off the Hinterland Blast from Malfurion, but in the meantime, an Ice Block also has to go down on Jaina, who will be too surrounded to survive, but we do lose Uther on the side of 2ARC. That's the only casualty they will suffer, as now they have Tuggin on the run. He's very, very low. I can't imagine he will not go down if they can catch him. Maybe they can't, and in the meantime, it looks like Claudius is going to escape as well, as the focus was on Tuggin.
Oh, the Flame Strike ensures that Zagara will go down, as did Tuggin. 2ARC are heading for the core. They've left Traitor to make sure to get some shots from that, as it will go faster. The Manor Mule comes down. We are seeing the end of this first game. I was a little scared in that last fight, actually, as the Hinterland Blast did not go on the judge target, but it was fine. There was so much damage between that Twilight Archon and Kael'thas that they were still able to take Vala down, and that will be game 1 going to 2ARC.
Man, I think the deciding factors here were, like we said, that 2ARC did manage to maintain themselves into the late game when they knew they were going to become just frightfully powerful. And of course, I think Judgment, like you said, 2ARC loves to play with Judgment into something super nukey, and they just hit every single one. The Hinterland Blast was never wasted after that Judgment. The timing was impeccable. Yeah.
They never... I can't... If they ever had somebody survive from the Judgment into some sort of damage... I can't remember it. I feel like they always took down exactly who they went for, except the one time they realized that Jaina had Ice Block, and from there it was instantly, okay, we cannot do this to Jaina anymore, it must be Vala. And so they went after Vala, and poor Vala can't vault away when you are stunned for eternity, and was taken out very quickly.
I want to point out the siege damage, Gilly. Look at Kael'thas' siege damage. 120,296. We don't need no stinking Sylvanas. We'll just have Kael'thas do it.
Yeah, he did quite a bit. He's a little bit of a beast and does a ton of damage. He also was topping the hero damage at that. So a great show of exactly how to play that Kael'thas, really making sure that they can keep him alive and well until the late game, protecting your structures as well. And they did that with the Mule, which I thought was a really great combination there. They realized that they would have a lot more power in the mid to later game, and they played to that advantage by having that Mule, having the promote, making sure that they constantly were protecting their structures and their lanes until they could get to that point.
It was a great game. I'm looking forward to the next one. We have 2ARC versus Blaze. That was game 1. We're going to go into game 2. This is a best of 3, and the winner will go on to the round of 8. So you're going to see these teams really try hard this one.
Definitely so. We're going to take a quick break while these guys set up the next game, and when we return, possibly the last game of the evening. So stay tuned.